Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Everyone who reads it must converse is the channel. On Instagram, it is simply everyone who reads because they don't allow that many characters for a page name, right? And why I bring that up at the beginning of this video is because today I'm talking about a new author, a brand new author named C.G. Jones, who is actually active on Instagram and has a podcast called The Last Sisyphus. The podcast is very, very interesting. Colin is his name. Colin goes over a lot of very interesting topics: dreams, spirituality, alternate modes of spirituality, consciousness studies, subconscious explorations. But it's just and widely pulling from a wide variety of things into his Last Sisyphus podcast. And I just want to make that first, and I will have a link to his Instagram, which is The Last Sisyphus, and the podcast in the description box. But my boy Colin here has written a book. This is Project Sleepless Dream. And I was lucky enough to be able to get it direct from Colin because I don't do any I don't do any Amazon. Feel free to DM me and ask me why. Okay, but I don't mess around with Amazon ever. And so I was able to get this from Colin, read it, and let's just say that this is one horrifying novel. Okay, and I don't mean horrifying bad. I mean scary. I wasn't really prepared for what this was. I didn't know what I was getting into with this. I hear things like Philip K. Dick, like mental breakdown, things like that, going into it. But I don't go for spoilers. I don't go for things that just kind of are going to tell me what things are about before. I like going in blind. And I'm glad I went in blind with this. This is a story that is told from the point of a compiler, from like a bureaucrat, uh, maybe an investigation, something, like that, where they're compiling information that is around this Project Sleepless Dream that is being undertaken by a section, a department of the United States government. But it is not the United States. In this book, it is the divided states of America. And how it is set up, we are maybe 10 years in the future from where we are now, and an alternative America, an alternative future. So we hope, let me tell you. And this is a biological techno horror, and it is done in a way where you will be guessing. It is done in a very mysterious kind of way where you're very intrigued. You're very caught in to what is going on and why things are happening. We have departments of our own government that seemingly are antagonistic to each other and working to undermine each other or working against each other in other kinds of ways. It's not very clear like what their agendas are, but the president is this his last name is Dreamer, and president is this kind of I want to say celebrity figure. He's a kind of figure where he's always very bombastic and this kind of thing. He's he's the look over here so you don't see what's going on over there kind of president. And all eyes are on him, but he's not actually running or doesn't have a hand in anything that we know about. The characters in this are very few, and um, one of them is the head person that is creating and refining this biological weapon, and it is horrifying. So there's your warning. The idea is to synthesize this compound that will actually um, bind to a DNA of an individual. and then in that individual's progeny, will that child will be a bomb, or an a bomb stronger than a nuclear bomb. I think in this kind of in one of the things, it points to a nuclear explosion, and it says something like 600 times greater than that is how much energy would be released, and if they can do, if he can do this kind of thing, because it's actually just one person. There is aspects of this that are they're not believable, but in a way that a movie is, you kind of suspend your disbelief and just go on the ride. It is a very intriguing ride, and and the most horrifying thing about it, though, is the lack of morality, the lack of really, this character, Dr. Norlin is his name. Norlin is not a very self-reflective person. He is just doing what he does. He's a worker, and he might be a workaholic in this kind of way. And he is not very reflective as to what he is actually doing. And I'm reminded of that quote from one of the scientists, I think Oppenheimer, from the Manhattan Project, where after they figured out how to uh, split the atom, and this bomb was actually a reality. Said, "I have become death. I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." Right? This is the kind of thing that Dr. Norlin is doing, even on a larger scale, and with the cost not just of human lives in creating this weapon that is completely scary on a destruction kind of level, but the the loss of humanity that has to happen to even produce this weapon is unbelievable. I mean, the first thing is you sacrifice an unborn innocent child, because there is no weapon unless somebody who has sent this, like, uh been treated with this compound. I forget, it's called, like, Simaflex, something like that. I'm just saying it off the top, because when you read it, I didn't have to say it out loud. Simpaflex, something like that. uh and then, by that person who's been treated with this compound and it has bound with their DNA, they just have a child. And that child is this weapon, is this nuclear, or more than nuclear weapon, that can be set off at any, and conceivably when they want to, right? But of course gonna die. I mean, and there's just not, he doesn't really reflect on what he's doing there. You as a reader are pulled into it, and it's wild. So I will say that in that way, there's no way to feel sympathy for this character. There is a narrative between, this is told by memo, emails, and letters, uh, between departments of the government, and also letters from Dr. Norland to his wife, and back and forth, and other letters too. I mean, it's just communication documents. That's what this book is composed of. And there is this thread of, you kind of, it feels like you're wanting to root for this guy to kind of get back, get his wife, and be have a life together or something like this. And it just doesn't work like that, because you can't have sympathy for this monster, like a complete monster, even if he's not self-aware, to know what he's doing. The sympathy for him personally, the reader is just like, you're just like, what is happening here? This is insane. And I mean, it is insane. I have touched on very little of what comes out into this book, because it is complete insanity, and it is very, very fun. Very fun, in a horrific kind of way, of course. I mean, if you're down for this kind of a nightmare trip. That's what it is, like a nightmare trip. Then this is your book, Project Sleepless Dream. I did have some fun with it, and it is something that I'll probably be rereading. It will definitely do good for a reread because there's so much to this slim novel. I say slim, but it is 182 pages, and so there is a lot to it. There's a lot to be worked out with the different communications and when they happen. There's a lot to it that is just kind of that is confusing as well, a bit that is confusing that probably will be making more sense on a reread. There's things to work through, is what I'm trying to say. And I'll give you the end, or I'll give you the back of it, just because I think it works good for the review of something that nobody has any experience with, and check it out if you like. On the brink of nuclear war with Neo Access powers, the divided states Department of Unspecified Services launches Project Sleepless Dream. This clandestine operation, headed by Dr. Pernell Norlin, is tasked with developing human nuclears, a nuclear explosive genetically embedded inside of human test subjects. As Dr. Norlin begins to question the ethics of his work, his wife, Sarah Norlin, is captured as one of the test subjects. Caught between the threat of nuclear apocalypse and psychological turmoil, Dr. Norlin must reckon with the potential fallout of his misplaced genius. Project Sleepless Dream is a novel that tackles the moral and philosophical questions surrounding war, antinatalism, and the bittersweet progress of science. At once a satire and a cautionary tale, this novel draws on themes of family, national duty, and what it means to be human in the 21st century. It's a pretty cool debut effort. So thank you very much for sending me one, Colin, so that I didn't have to go through Amazon for it. And catch you on the next one, guys. Bye bye.